What's up, everybody? Jonathan back here with some more logging on Farming Simulator 2015. We're going to see if we can't get the rest of these trees cut down today and hauled to the mill and get us some more money in the bank. Once we get these trees cut down and loaded up and hauled to the mill, it'll probably be about dark, so we'll see how that goes with, running with the lights and everything. I will probably, let's see, it's 2040. I'll probably, once I get all these trees cut down, and by the time I get back from the mill, it'll probably be just about getting dusk, and I'll probably go ahead and shut it down because we'll be done with this little spot and we need to move on to another spot of trees. And I'd rather do that in daylight. So we'll probably go ahead and end the video after another run to the mill. And we'll get our low boy and load up all the equipment and move to the next spot. We'll have to work on these stumps a little bit and get them all cleaned up, and maybe see if we can't plant some more trees back in here. And hopefully today we'll be able to see how our new Peterbilt truck works out. I think it's going to be real nice. gonna have to look up and see how long it's gonna take those seedlings we planted to grow. I think it's several game days before they get ready to be cut. So we might be waiting a while. And what I may do too is with this next delivery to the mill, once we get some money from that, I might buy another field and probably plant some more trees. I'd like to some point later on plant some grass and either, well, you can't, well, I guess you can sell hay bales, but probably most likely end up making silage out of it and selling that, because you do get quite a bit of money from that. And we can set all that up with course play, and it's pretty automated. Pretty simple operation. I mean, you just, once you plant the grass and you cut it, it'll grow back automatically, and just keep cutting it and it'll grow back. But it's really, you just mow it and then you rake it up into rows, and then you come back with a collector and then a trailer, and it just picks it up automatically and set it all up with course play, and it's pretty automated. Much to it at all. I was browsing through some of the new mods on one of the mod sites today for Farming Simulator 15. And I saw a couple of cool things I may have to look into. One of them was airport, had a little runway, and I guess some airplanes that came with it. Either, I'm not sure if they were flyable or just, you know, static displays, but one of them for sure was a flyable plane that was separate from the airport mod. I'm going to have to check those out and see if I can't somehow get those onto the map, and it'd be cool to kind of fly over the logging jobs and just check it out. And, they also even had a helicopter. That'd be pretty cool to buy a helicopter and fly from one side of the map to the other. Maybe when we reach logging empire status, we can afford to buy a plane or a helicopter. But I'll definitely download those mods and check them out and see if we can't do something with them. few, well, there's one or two more back there. I think that's, well, there's a couple over there. Let's get these down here first. One of the things I wish the game did was, you know, if you left some trees, then some smaller trees would start growing back automatically like they do the grass. And that's realistic, but maybe they can implement that in one of the future versions of the game. Because planting those trees sure does take a lot of time. You gotta load the saplings up onto the trailer, and planting them takes forever. Yeah, this is starting to look like a real job site here, dodging all these trees that are falling. Yeah, when I was working as a forester several years back, a lot of those guys would just use chainsaws to fall the trees, and they'd just go to cutting like crazy, and they have, it's like just, I mean, trees falling all over each other, just every which way, and some of them sites were a mess. But I think there was only but maybe one or two logging crews that we had that used chainsaws. Everybody else was, you know, feller bunchers, or they were more careful with how they dropped them. But depends on the site too. A lot of times, if you're in there and got to get out and hurry, just kind of go with, you know, as quick as you can, and clean it up as you go. But most of our crews did have either a wheeled feller buncher or a track feller buncher, and then skidders to pull them up to the job site, the landing. And then of course here in the south in Louisiana, most guys for loaders had probably a apprentice trailer loader. It was basically just a trailer with one end of it had basically a cab with a boom and a loader on the end of it, and they would I guess that's, well, I won't worry about those trees over there, so we'll just leave those. But yeah, it was just you know, you just pulled it behind a 18-wheeler truck, and they just dropped it off where they wanted to have the landing at, and then the skidders would pull it up to there, and then the operator on the loader on that trailer would just load them up onto the trucks and sort the logs and whatever. Okay, let's get these things loaded up. I did really enjoy most parts of working as a forester. Some of it was pretty fun. it wasn't too fun when it was about 100 degrees outside and you had to go flag a line and no wind. Or like one time when I was out flagging a line, and so for the logging crew wouldn't cut over the next property. I was on the very far end of the track. I mean, no way I could get back with just a couple of minutes or something, but it just started downpouring. I mean, I got soaking wet from head to toe. But I was already wet, so I went ahead and finished it up. No sense in stopping and then having to come back and finish it. That wasn't too much fun. It's one of those things, though. Didn't help anything either that when the logging guys got loaded up into their truck and were nice and dry in there, saw me as I just got back to my truck and was getting it unlocked and all that stuff, and they had a pretty good little laugh at me. You know, I was soaking wet, and there may have been something about a drowned rat mentioned, I don't know. But if those guys didn't give you a hard time, they didn't like you, and I hope they liked me. They sure gave me a hard time sometimes. Well, it ought to be starting to get dark here pretty soon. Let's see, yep, sun's, it's going down pretty good. Probably another 30 minutes or so game time, I would imagine. It's what, 2100, that's what, 9 o'clock? Is that 9 o'clock? Shadows are getting pretty long anyway. Go ahead and get some lights turned on here so I don't forget later, and then can't see where I'm going. But I think I would have probably realized it was dark. Maybe. do find it pretty neat though that they didn't make all the trees perfectly straight. I saw that when I just loaded, there was a little crooked. That's a neat aspect of the game. Yeah, I just really can't wait for 2017 to come out, or I guess it's just Farming Simulator 17, but either way it's going to be pretty cool, I bet. And for you ladies out there, there's going to be the option to play as a girl. Play as a female, so that'll be a first for the game series so far, I do believe. At least that's what I've read. Hopefully, I believe they're supposed to have a lot of new equipment too that comes standard with the game, so I can't wait to see what that is. I guess that one, yeah, that's a little bit too long there. Okay. Let's see if we can fix that real quick. Yeah, the one thing I've noticed, I'm not sure if it's my computer or if it's just the mods themselves or what, but whenever you've got a bunch of equipment around one area and it could be some mods, could just be the game itself, but it seems like it gets a little jittery with, you know, it doesn't run quite as smooth. It's not too bad, but every once in a while you'll get a little more jitter. It usually seems like it's a little worse when I've got the lights on. So it very well could be my computer or the graphics card or something, but I bet it's probably a combination of both. Some of these mods maybe. And usually what I do with the mods is I'll download them and go ahead and install them to the mods folder, but then I've got this one game save where I've got a ton of money in there where I just buy the new mod I put in there and I'll test it out and see. And then also you can check the log file if you go into I believe it's Documents, My Games, and this is for Windows. Documents, My Games, and then Farming Simulator. I believe there's right there at that point there's a log file where you can check and look and see if any of these mods are causing any warnings or errors. Warnings are probably okay. I haven't really had too many issues with you know, the mods that have said they've got a warning of some sort, but the ones that have errors, sometimes it'll crash the game even, so I'll check those out and make sure that I'm not getting any errors for sure. And if so, well, so much for that one, but that's been pretty rare. I haven't really had too many that have caused errors. Now, I don't recall which one it was, but I was really looking forward to playing this one mod and installed it, and the game kept crashing, so I checked the log file, and sure enough it was causing an error, so oh well. But most modders though, I mean, they'll test them out pretty good, but I guess sometimes you just get those that don't, and then all of a sudden you've got game crashes. I think we might have room for maybe 3 or 4 more. It's really starting to get dark now. So we'll go ahead and try to get this loaded up and off to the mill, and then by that time it should be pretty well dark. It probably looks like we're not going to be able to finish up getting all this wood up off the ground on this video, so we'll send the truck off to the mill and get some money in the bank and probably end the video at that point for this time. So when we come back next episode, we'll finish getting all this up and we'll Probably go ahead and move the harvester down to our new spot and maybe cut down a few trees when we're there just to get a few on the ground since we're done here. And then we'll have to finish loading up the rest of the stuff here and get the rest of our equipment moved out to the new spot. So next video I think will be moving day. And I'll have to, can't remember, I may have a lowboy trailer already. I can't remember if I do or not. If not, I'll have to test a few out. I've got one or two I like and one or two I don't like, so I'll test those out and see which one works best, because I can't remember. And we'll get that straightened out before next video, so we're not wasting our time again if we did that one video with that wood chipper. Let's see how we're doing here on our load. Maybe I'll put 2 more on there, then we'll send it. We're getting pretty short on time this video, so I want to go ahead and get it sent so we can keep progressing with this spot here and get it finished up. I went too far down the hill, but we'll just grab this one. And I really like this tractor, but also what I'll probably end up doing too is checking around to see if there's not a tractor that'll take a front end loader and maybe it's a little bit bigger than this one, maybe a little better suited for loading up these big logs. But so far I really haven't had too much of a problem with these tree length logs here. This tractor does a really good job. But I'll just check around and see if there's anything else out there that might be a little better suited or might work a little better even. Alright, come on, get out of there. Alright, we'll put 1 more on there and then we'll send it off. So let's get out of the way and we'll send this off to the mill. Let's get our course loaded in to the mill and off he goes. Get some lights turned on. I really like that truck. We'll have to get us 2 or 3 more, all matching, where we can have a nice little fleet of trucks. Our truck has reached the waiting point, so we'll cruise on over there and get the logs offloaded. And next video, I doubt there'll be any progress, but we'll have to look and see if our fields that we planted over there, I believe it was fields 24 and 29, we'll have to see if there's been any progress on the saplings, but I really doubt it. It's only been, I guess, 1 day game time. Oh, I gotta stop the driver. Okay. And then what I'll have to test out, I don't know how I'm really going to get a good test, but because like I was mentioning in one of the previous videos, you can actually back your trailer or park your trailer over there, just over the cab there, where that train is at. There's a spot there to offload logs, and this trailer is a tipper trailer, so all you gotta do is tip it over and the logs will get sold, and then you can it'll automatically flip itself back over. And then once you get the logs offloaded, you can send the train off, and it gives you some money. So we'll have to see if it's actually more profitable to just dump them in the pond, or if you actually send them off on the train, you know. So, but I don't really know how to test that. We'll just have to maybe do 2 or 3 and take an average or something. I don't know, but we might give that a shot and see. Oh, there he goes again. I forgot about. I guess I didn't get good enough on the stopping point there before I started the course play. We got them all messed up here. Let's get our truck back on schedule here so we can get back to our job site. Alright. Let me get this trailer back to the job site so next time we can load up the rest of those logs and make another run of the mill. And until then, have a good one, and we'll see you next time.